Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Let rain fall, let rain
Good afternoon and welcome back to Laurel Park. Welcome back to Today at the Races. I'm Gabby Gaudette, joined by Keith Fustel here to take a look at this 9-race program. And welcome back. We've had a couple of days off since Sunday, but we do have some nice carryovers, and it's finally starting to feel like spring.
A little bit of a regularity of some nice weather. I mean, it's baseball weather. That's why I love it. The son's playing high school ball, and finally getting a couple days in a row we're not out there in 25-mile-an-hour winds, and it's 45 degrees. But yeah, it's great. We're fast and firm. Just a beautiful day today. Sun's out, shining brightly. I think we're going to head up maybe to the mid to upper 60s. So yeah, looking forward to it.
It's going to be a great weekend too. Obviously, we've drawn for the whole weekend: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday. Some really excellent races. Even today, some really great betting races, and Sunday as well. I finished that this morning. We're starting to get to the 2-year-old races too, which is always exciting. So a lot to look forward to this weekend.
And the days of we churn through the winter months. We get some smaller fields. I work through the morning lines, and I get some, hitting 4 to 5, 6 to 5s with regularity on the line.
No.
Throw that out the window right now
anymore.
for the most part, because Saturday, Sunday's card, it's just, it should be a bonanza, I think, for the players.
Yeah, absolutely. Plenty of opportunity there. But we'll first take a look at our featured wagers and our carryovers on this 9-race program. The Rainbow Six kicks off in race 4, and carryover over $1,200 in that featured wager. As we look at the pick 5 that kicks off in the 5th race, a nice big carryover in that, over $8,000, and that's going to be a great sequence today. And as we look at the Rolling Super High 5-2, does kick off in the 1st race, just over $500 here as well.
It's a really good pick 5 sequence, 8,600. Hopefully we can get up to 20 or 30,000 in it with the low takeout. It is tough. I'm going to take a shot in there and single a runner. I'm not going to do it in the last races with the turf race, Eddie Graham, but I've got to spread around from there.
Okay, and we'll look at with the conditions here this afternoon. As we alluded to, a beautiful spring afternoon, and the weather, as you can see, green grass there on the turf. The track is fast, the turf is firm. We started all off at 1:10 p.m., 60s and sunny. Couldn't ask for better weather than that. We'll start it here with race 1, a maiden $25,000 event, 5.5 furlongs onto the main track. And we have kind of the presence of a horse that's coming in off of a layoff, the 5 Sultry Encounter, who I really didn't know what to do with him. His back races are pretty good, but you also have other horses in here with recency.
Yeah, and I'm going to hedge and take a shot against him. This horse, I think they had some hopes for this horse. He really hasn't panned out. Really didn't run fast as a 2-year-old. He catches a questionable bunch. I'm going to go towards the inside. I like the 2 What Quality, second-time blinkers. Tried this horse at Charlestown last time. Rushed up, showed good speed. You see that opening quarter, 21:01. I don't know if the clock was right or not. Still, they were going quick. Horse came out of there to run well. I go back to the 3-back try at Laurel where he ran the 54 Buyer. That's good enough. This horse last time, he got in a little trouble into the turn too, Gabby. At Charlestown, a lot of these horses, they ship up at tighter turns, are a little uncomfortable. I think he settles in a good position. Second blinkers with McCarthy. I think he goes right to the front and takes him wire to wire.
Second blinkers will help, and if he does run similar to those opening quarter fractions at Charlestown, if he can transition that, he should be the speed in here. But Sultry Encounter's not that slow either. Now, I know it's not a vote of confidence, but I did think that maybe Rodney Jenkins is getting realistic with this horse. He didn't run fast races as a 2-year-old, and he very well could come back and do well. Rodney Jenkins does well with these types of kind of class droppers too, from maiden special weight to maiden claimers on the dirt. Batting at at 42%, and we can see that stat there, 42%, but still a negative ROI. Still, they just run very well, 58% into the money. So take it for what it's worth. I'm going to back myself up with the 4 Charlie's Darling, who did take a drop in class last time out at 7/8. My only concern with this horse, Keith, is kind of the distance. Is 5.5 just a little bit too short?
Last time out, I mean, he was under a good rating hole going 7 furlongs, waited. It got what looked like was going to be a horse come back to him, loomed large at the 16th pole, looked like he was going to win the race for fun and just hung late. I think he might be able to lay a little bit closer in here given the distance to 5.5. He'll have some speed. What quality obviously is going to go. If Sultry Encounter is fresh and wants to go to, might pressure my top pick. It should set up for him to make a run into a piece. Yeah, no doubt about it.
I'll throw in the One Fight for Freedom on the bottom half of the ticket. The blinkers go on for trainer Donald Barr, and this horse gets to a fast main track, which very well could make all the difference. And he's finding the easiest class field that he has faced in his career, but he really will have to improve in order to win this race as well. We'll move on to the second and $5,000 claiming event, 5.5 furlongs onto the main track. And this is a race where we have a horse like the 9 New Yorker to the outside, who's coming in off of a layoff, making his 10-year-old seasonal debut.
He's going to be my top selection here. This was a real tricky race. Horses that haven't won a race in 6 months or 4 in life. Longer term dogs, I don't know what happened last time. Maybe the 7 furlongs was just a little bit too far for him. He had good position, couldn't follow through. 5.5 looks to be his best distance. He's going to be a short price. New Yorker, we saw Kaiser Carnena strike with Burning Mandate at a good price a couple of weeks ago. This horse is fresh, draws to the outside. I think he has enough tactical speed. I want to see aggressive tactics taken by the rider. Put him right into the race early. Maybe go clear around the turn and hold on. He drops finally into this condition spot, but the 9 post is favorable. It just happened to glance. I usually don't look at it too much, but early on here, 4 for 16, 25% clip. A good spot to stay out of trouble. There's not a ton of speed in here. I think he gets good position. Raw talent's going to be the question mark. Reported, the PPs came out. We got the early edition of the PPs. I'm just thinking, all right, he claims this horse. I'm looking at his 4-year-old colt. I bet you this horse is going to come back after scratching the jockey is gelding. And there it was. The big G shows up on your PP lines. He's credible enough, goes for Trombetta off of a low percentage barn. Tougher spot down inside. He's going to have to send and get position, but he's a main threat.
For me, you look at a horse like the 9 New Yorker, and I think he has the fat class, and he does have that kind of controlling position to the outside. I actually like that outside post position, as you said, too. Casey Cartagena, though, and I thought this was kind of a telling stat here. Over the 61 to 180-day layoffs, 0 for 15, 27% in the money. So that gave me enough of a cause for pause to maybe shop for alternative options.
No, I agree with you there. I'm just hedging. Maybe we'll break the streak here. This horse on the engine and go.
The 5 longer terms, Doug, is the one that I'll try to opt to beat him with. He was bet down to the favorite last time out. It was a little wide going into that final turn, but I think he's just a better horse going shorter. I don't think 7 furlongs really is his game. He's shown in the past that he chases and falters, so now in the cutback, I think he should be sitting on
No
go.
doubt. He'll get a good trip in here. He's just going to be it'll be a short price. It's going to be tough to leave out of your double so in your early pick 3s and pick 4s.
All right, race 3 on the card. Non-winners a 2 lifetime event going out to the turf course at a mile in for the $15,000 tag. And the 6 Water Cubes looks to transition his form from Tampa up to the Laurel circuit here this afternoon. And he put in some good races, Keith. My only question is really what has he been facing down in Tampa?
That's the big thing. He broke the maiden, a suspect bunch, and he comes back in a 2 in life. But I will say the 5th place finish out of that March 12th, his most recent race at Tampa, did come back and run a 78. Might have been a little inflated behind a horse by the name of Soulman, who we saw run up here and I believe went for Grand Motion. So that gives it a little bit of credibility. You've got some unproven horses on the turf. I'll take a shot to the inside with some horses trying the grass. One has tried it once. The other one, my top choice after the cutoff, has never been on the grass. I just think we're ripe to try to take a shot against this shorter price horse.
I completely agree. I'm going to take a shot with actually, I think I actually used the 2 Some Promises on top. Well, this is a kind of a price play that I wanted to use. The 2 Some Promises now gets added distance to the mile for Holly Robinson. You look at the breeding, Buy Not for Love out of Promiseville. The mare has actually produced 2 winners on the turf. The majority have been the best on the dirt, but I've just been waiting for this horse to really, he looks like he has a little bit more potential than what he's been showing lately.
I agree with you completely. A little protect move maybe last time in for the allowance, comes back to the turf. Lone turf try, comparatively to this field, is not bad at all, and that was without blinkers. This is going to be his first turf try on the blinkers. You said the mare was 3 for 14 on grass, ran in the upper 80s, made about almost $90,000. The one after the cutoff, claimed for 15, jumped up to 25, just kind of ran even last time on the dirt. But looking at the breeding, Haynesfield, kind of a newer stallion, they're winning at about a 20% clip on the turf as the Haynesfield offspring. The mare, Midway Holiday, 2 for 5 on the grass, ran 4th in a grade 3. There's enough in there, and I think the one after the cutoff and some problems, I think they're just going to get good trips. We'll be forward in here. I still want to be fairly close to the pace here on this turf course. Let's take a shot with a 1 and a 2.
I think he'll relish the added distance, too, and getting to the turf. As you said, on the bottom side, the mare was 4th in a grade 3 Virginia Oak, so there's a little bit of turf pedigree on the bottom side as well. But that is races 1 through 3. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the Rainbow 6 that does kick off in the 4th race. Have a nice little carryover, and we'll talk about it right after this commercial break.
Our day begins early, preparing for the task ahead, focused on a single goal. Then it's showtime, ready to face another challenge. And while victory may be uncertain, you can always bet on us to be at our very best.
Welcome back to Today at the Races. Now talking about the Rainbow 6 does start in the 4th race on the card. We have a nice little carryover in that wager as well, just over $1,200. And I did come up with a pretty affordable ticket. $48 is going to have to do it for me. I thought that if we look at the sequence here, I'm going to be using 4 horses to kick it off. If we could show my ticket here now, using several horses in race 5. I thought race 5 was wide open. I saw race 6 just kind of dwindling down between 2 horses, the 2 and the 5, using 3 in race 7. And race 8, I really like the 7, but she is coming in off of a layoff for Christophe Clement Whip, so I'll back myself up with the John Robb runner, the number 1, and then I'll key off of Monando in the final race. $48. I thought that horse was kind of lone speed and just very formful, so why not? I'm interested to see your ticket as we get to the late pick 5 as well, but first, race 4 does kick us off, the 1-turn mile on the main track. And my question for you is kind of, how did you see this race?
I think it's impossible. I mean, it is a really, really hard race. You went, 40th there? You could take the field in here.
Yeah.
I could not separate this field. You got a bunch of horses that really don't look like they won a mile either. They look like seven furlongs is their limitation. I went against General Johnny last time. I'm coming back to him today. Just the fact McCarthy kind of had his choice. He goes here. Del Capuano, he's doing well. The barn's picking up a little bit of steam right now. He's tactical enough. He's gone a mile in the 16th. He's gone a mile, just missed, and running good enough numbers. There's some speed in this race. You got Who Stole My Sock. Heavenly Hayes has speed. Unblunted's been close. Lanier's going to be close. Maybe he can just sit enough of a trip and have one little punch at the head of the lane and kind of outgame him. Maybe McCarthy can take him to the wire. I don't like this race a little bit. It's super tough. 1A River Magic I'm going to throw in. At least it's been proven to win at a distance. At 3, Heavenly Hayes ran okay at a mile at Santa Anita, the 2-turn mile. How's that going to transition to here? The last time out of Penn, ran credible. And this barn, when they come in, they do well. They do okay, the Salvaggio horses. But is he going to get chewed up a little bit by the time they hit the head of the stretch? That's visualizing this race. I can see a bunch of horses together at the head of the lane.
I think distance is going to be the great equalizer today, and who's going to be really struggling at that second wire going the 1-turn mile, and who has been effective going the mile or even farther in the past. I thought that Gentle Johnny has run some good races going a distance of ground. I don't necessarily think he needs the lead. I think he should be able to sit behind some of the pace in here who's faster, like Who Stole My Sock or some others in here as well. I'm dubious of the 6 Unblunted. I really don't think he likes the distance. It looked like he was kind of all out last time out.
The only thing I could say last time, he maybe was trying to force his hand a little bit. That was March 11th, 12th, 13th, that kind of weekend. Guys were being a little bit more aggressive. Speed was carrying on the racetrack. maybe he was just up into it a little too much. But I agree with you. He just doesn't seem like he wants to follow through at a mile. Lanier, I like last time. Nothing. He came under a ride after about a half of a mile and couldn't get going. Although he's got a good race at a mile, the one-turn mile. It's a way back at Churchill. Question marks abound in here. If you can afford to take the all button, I would do it.
And even with the 3 Heavenly Haze, going back to this horse, it kind of ran a little bit slower, going the 5.5 furlongs last time out. And the reason that I was kind of teetering on him is because his lone win came on the lead at 6 furlongs. And will he prove to be a little bit more versatile, tactical? Where is he going to wind up when we get to the second wire finish? So I agree with you that race, if you can maybe avoid it and cover yourself in the pick 6, click the all button. Why not?
Yep.
And in all honesty, you could probably single the 2 horses in the later half of the card. That's what I was kind of struggling with, clicking the all button in the first leg and then kind of spreading out from there. But we'll go to the race 5 here, a really nice maiden special weight onto the turf course at a mile and a 16th. This is a race where I use several different horses, just trying to getting tricky here. But you have a late pick 5, and I'm really interested to see it.
If you throw the pick 5 ticket up, I think I'm going to get you for what, $60 today. I usually don't like investing that much. I'm going to have to go around with a basket or something, collection basket, see if I can get some money to get through this ticket. But I think you've got to
You and
go.
I agree.
That's Stan. Well, maybe
no,
72.
Okay.
Stan, he's got a little bit more cash flow than I. I mean, I don't have that kind of flow
You've
with the
changed
kids. But
over the past couple of days.
So no, it's a $60 ticket. I'm going to spread around in the 5th and the 6th. Here we go, 4 by 5. Everything's going to kind of hinge in the 7th race on my single here with Hopala, Edward Graham. I think he's run just clearly against better horses in Europe. It's fresh and comes to a barn that wins. He can get horses prepared off a layoff. Suspect field, in my opinion. I think he hits a softer spot off a time, and then we go 3 by 2. But this first couple races, all over the place. If I had a little bit more, I'd like to take a little bit more horses in these first 2 legs. But we're going to stick here. I like the 1A as a price shot. Nick's Luck. Looking at the field, I don't see an abundance of speed. I think this horse is tactical enough. He's going to go second time gelding here, first time gelding on the turf. Comes out of a race, his only turf race back in October at Belmont was super strong. It looked like some severe trouble. Didn't run a step at all, but his races produced a stakes winner and second place finisher, Giant Run.
Oh, that's
I think the 9th place finisher might have come back out of that race to win next time out in New York. I like the improvement last time. This is going to be first blinkers on the turf. Look for a move up in here, and I think second dam, if I looked, Grade 1 winner in France on the turf. So there's a lot of indicators that this horse is going to improve second time on the turf.
He's going to have to improve, because I thought I wanted to kind of go towards him, but he really did no running in debut. But like you said, that was a very tough field. I've been high on Giant Run for the past several starts, being familiar with him down in Florida, and he went on to win the Cutler Bay. It was a horse who had been competing against some quality maiden special weight company. So I like that direction. The 6 I'm in is a horse for trainer Alan Goldberg, and this horse is regally bred for the turf. Kitten's Joy out of a cozy mare, Cozy Corner. You see the mare was a grade 3 winner going long on the turf. She was a multiple graded stakes place mare, about $220,000 on the turf. Not to mention, Alan Goldberg still has a positive ROI with his first time starters going or out of ground. We'll show the statistics, 17%, 28% in the money, positive ROI of $2.73. Now, he's better known for kind of his first time starters turf sprinting, but he can get them ready to fire at 2 turns.
Sure, and catches a feel. Once again, a little bit, suspect. Nobody showing glaring talent. He comes in with a horse well bred, a half to daunting and in the pipe. I want to say in the pipe broke its maiden here. Did it?
I think so.
Or maybe
inside the pipe, something like that.
Yeah, inside the pipe. But and they kind of both won. Two of those horses, both of those won a pair of turf routes, and then ran in the lower 70s. So any kind of resemblance of that race certainly puts him in the mix. But I like the 1A price. I also like the 2, Tough Teddy, who ran back in the fall at Laurel against Tassett. You see that. It's a key. Tassett came back just the other day. Dave Rodman gave me a call and said, hey, did you see Tassett won on the grass? A good effort. So he was running well on the dirt, was running in the mid-70s. This is going to be first time gelding for Tough Teddy on the grass. He was really game November 21st. I like the way he chased him around there the whole way. I think we'll improve off of that.
I will use that horse in my Rainbow 6-2. Another horse I'll use is a 10 Daniel Ledoux. I've been kind of clocking this horse for a very long time. Maybe I shouldn't be, but I'm going to give him one more shot. He is listed as a gelding now today off of the layoff since mid-December. And we'll take a look at his replay on the 17th of October because I thought he had a tremendous amount of excuse against Minor Legend. You can see him, Horacio Caramanos, in the saddle. He's highlighted there right now, and he looks to be making a move at the quarter pole, and he's just reserved. He has no room to run. He's even check steadied, and whereas the winner has a clear kind of run on the outside, just rallying from off the pace. We'll actually see Minor Legend later on this weekend as well. But once he finally regrouped, I thought he came with a nice closing energy, and I'm interested to see him getting back to the turf once again today.
No doubt. The question is going to be getting the mile on 16th off a time like this. I'm sure Merriman's had this horse well prepped. Yeah, any of those races fit right in the mix in here. It's a good wide open race. I think you have to give a shot to some prices. You've got a horse at 7-2 first, or we didn't even talk about the 9.
Yeah, 11 Cent Fainer.
11 Cent Fainer comes in for Kelly Rublin. She looks like she's coming in with a bunch of horses over the weekend. Very, very live. This barn I know has been a little bit of a slump, but I'm sure it's going to get hot. Has a really good record in Maryland. Maybe an inflated number last time. The 77 got in a little bit of trouble, but had dead aim at the head of the lane. He just didn't follow through the way I thought he would follow through at Gulfstream. But
you actually see the 0-for-19 record so far this year for the Kelly Rubley barn. That said, these are horses, especially down in Florida at Gulfstream, that have been running in maiden special weight company, like running in nice allowance races, finishing second and third. So they actually have been running very well. So don't let that 0-for-19 record kind of sway you there.
Yeah, a little stat. She comes into Maryland over the last couple of years, 5 for 14 on the turf course. So very live all weekend. Is Kelly Rubley.
All right, we'll move on to the 6th race, an open $15,000 event, 5.5 furlongs onto the main track. And this was another one, I think you either stick to maybe the formful horses or you can get kind of crazy in here. The 2 Great Smoke is probably one you have to use protectively. This is a horse who's been in fine form lately, and I thought he was even complimented by the fact that Twisted Earl, a horse he faced and was beaten by 2 starts back, came back to win that open $15,000 condition on Sunday.
No doubt about it. He's kind of fine his little level here. He's running well. I went against him last time at $1.80 to 1. He beat me. I'm going to use him in here. I had a little tricky time lining the rest of the horses in this race. I think the one, Hugh McMahon, I ended up going the second choice. The barn's doing well. Looking at this race again, I think he might have enough speed. Going to go second time blinkers. Last time I got in a little trouble. Had to rush up, press a horse. You see a biting star with. He won 3 or 4 in a row now. I think he's faced the right kind of company. He's got a little stat. I don't know if we're going to put this up on the screen or not. We've got a formulator stat for trainer Hugh McMahon. There it is. Dirt sprints the last 2 years from allowance to claimers. 12 for 38, 26 to 38 in the money with a positive ROI, over $3. I think it's a dead send. The rail scares me a little bit. It hasn't been good at the 5.5 furlong distance. Leslie's got to be tied on and just go with the 1. Remain silent. Maybe he can kind of discourage the rest and take this field wire to wire. Okay,
I do think he might get some pressure from the 4. You're not the 1, though, to the outside, because that race, he was, it looks on paper that he was taken off the pace, but he actually, if you go back and read the short comment, because you can't watch the replay for some reason, it was a non-wagering event.
Watching.
It was very strange.
You're barred.
The horse actually hit the gate and didn't break well. He kind of broke sideways. Okay. So that actually showed a new dimension, though. It showed that he did show the ability to rate. But his back races are kind of quick, and I would imagine that this horse, now hopefully getting off to a better start, might show a little bit more speed and give Remain Silent some run for his money on the front end. That's kind of where I led to the 5, King of Versailles, hoping that he can turn the tables on some of these other runners. Yes, he's only 2 for 13, but he has been facing decent company. The open 25,000. Bad performance last time out. He had excuses 2 starts back. If we can see a performance that he gave in early February, I think he could be kind of a sneaky runner in here.
Need him that day, boy. At 7 to 1, the price. The race kind of fell apart in the lane. He just couldn't quite get up. I do like the 4 here. I think you're getting away with an okay price for Mark Salvaggio. You go back to Canterbury race over the summer. It's good enough, and this is a second-time gelding. So you saw that improvement. First time gelding. I know they declared it a no contest, but a square price. I'm definitely going to use them in the pick 5 and pick 4, all those little multi-race gimmicks.
Okay,
Let's go.
race 7 kicks off the final pick 3, maiden special weight onto the turf course, a mile and a 16th. And this is, I thought, another very, very good betting races, and many ways to go. But you and I both agree on the 6, Hopala, who has faced some serious contenders abroad, not to mention Eddie Graham, Greg Bentley as well, the owners and trainer connections, obviously bringing out Hardest Score to win the Arlington Million a few years ago. They can get these horses ready, especially off of layoffs. We've seen them so many times. And actually, we've seen Hardest Score. We're familiar with Hardest Score, but he also had a filly, and I can't remember the name of it. And she had a lot of success here locally, too, last turf season.
And the name's escaping me as well, but I do remember the horse. Yeah, I got to respect that. Coming in, I think he catches the right kind of field. Hopala, you go back, 3 back was the race. I kind of did a little investigating. The winner of that race, Deauville, came back with second in a Group 2 against a quality field of runners. They're not this kind of, he's not facing this kind in here. I think Cavity might have been a little bit inflated, ran better off the claim, first off the claim for Sibeli. Will draw a lot of money. That's why I'm hoping Hopala can maybe fall in that range of 3 to 1, 5 to 2. We get a square price.
That's why I don't really trust Cavity in here. We have a horse like Cavity, the 5 and the 12, Kid Jeter, who they've been facing maiden claimers down in Florida, and the numbers would kind of top the rest of this field. But you have to kind of look at the class too, and what these horses have been running against. And as you said, Hopala was second behind a group placed a winner there, Duvee.
Yep.
So that's one. You have to handicap this race on class-wise. I'll also kind of throw in a wild horse, a 10, Zen's Land for Larry Murray. You see the breeding by Mizzen Mass out of a Dixieland band mare. This is a horse who is a half-to-court band, who was 11-time turf winner. And the only negative is that the mare, she's kind of an older mare, and it looks like some of her recent foals might be tapering off.
Yeah, I think the transition to the turf is going to be a good one for this horse, and comes out of a decent race last time. Those horses, DT Goody didn't discourage himself at all in stakes company. I'm going to use that horse in the mix. A little rod dog special. Dave Robin talking to him this morning. He likes Giles Fair, so maybe give that horse a little bit of look. Took a lot of play. Now that was for Mott back in the fall at Keeneland. First time gelding, back to the turf. You might see a little bit of a wake up for the 3, Giles Fair rod dog selection.
I told you, plenty of ways to go.
Yeah.
I'm using several horses in that leg of the sequence too. You either have an opinion or you could make a case for several. Obviously, you singled on
I'm just thinking,
Hopala.
this guy, what's he, the
So,
last
I
5
like-
years, 20 for 65?
Yeah, I like the strategy.
I'm gonna roll those percentages.
Race 8 on the card, a very nice allowance optional claiming event. 6 furlongs on the main track. Scratch the 3, the 1A, and the 9. Big Thrill figured to be kind of the other horse when you were looking at Width and Big Thrill. They both had won in their debut at Saratoga. In fact, we'll take a look at that victory at Saratoga with the 7 Width and just kind of look at this filly stretch run. This was back when she debuted as a 2-year-old at Saratoga in August, and she faced a pretty decent field. I just like how she won this race too. She improved the ability to rate and then close from off of the pace. Not to mention, we've seen some of those horses like Libretta, a horse that she faced in that event who was 3rd, come back to run very well at Gulfstream against allowance optional claimers. This is a filly who's precocious. She clearly has some talent, and I love the fact that they cut her back here off of the layoff.
Yeah, she didn't get away really well in that race. Now, the outside wasn't a bad place to be. I saw a lot of horses circling wide, but it was really kind of never in doubt. She kind of drug herself up to contention, was like 4 or 5 wide, and when she hit the opposite, Jock said go, and she said, let's go, and proven now she can win first off of time. She's going to be very tough at a short price. You've got Girls Got Rhythm, John Robb's horse, got away with one runner for the tag for $40,000. Came back, trouble trip March 18th. I like they're keeping her right here at this level. That was a fast race on January 31st. Puts her right in the mix. Yeah.
And you even look at the replay too, because she broke from the rail. She was down on the inside. She wasn't fast enough to really clear anybody, so she was caught in that really tricky position down on the inside. She doesn't look like a very big filly either, at least in comparison to the horses that she was facing in that field, because I was watching the replay. She looked tiny in comparison to the one that was kind of leading the field there. It was a fast race. I thought she was in a very intimidating position, and now drawn to the outside, we could see her turn the tables. This is the filly that I'll back myself up with Width in the pick 6.
Yeah, originally I was going to leave her out. I said, no, I'm not going to let this horse go. I glanced, and she's run fast enough to win this. And look who's talking. The return of Look Who's Talking. She was showing affinity for turf, dirt, anything, handle any
Yeah.
surface. Really good race when beating likes of Lexington Street, Jump for Love in the Juvenile Filly Championship. But as well, she was prepared and won first time out. So don't let the layoff really kind of bother her. Good works leading into this. One of those three. I'd be surprised if it's anybody else.
And I think she'll like the fact that she's been freshened for a couple of months. So she looks like a filly that will really, really relish that. We'll move on to the 9th and final race, a $5,000 conditional claimer, 5.5 furlongs on the main track. Scratch the 1 and the 2 and make the rider Al Cortez on the 9, Fairy Cat. I'm singling on Menando, and I know this horse is going to be a short price, but this is how I'm going to try to make money in other legs of the pick six by keying off of him, primarily because he's dropping in class. He's facing much easier than what he has been facing. Yes, a subpar performance as the favorite at Charlestown last time out. Sometimes we see horses not always transition their form to a tricky track like Charlestown. Now getting into this condition, and he figures to be perhaps lone speed. Maybe the 3 Stourbridge Lion might pressure him at some point. Maybe Don Tito if he goes back to it too. But I'm just speed and back class. That's who I land on.
Can't jamming a sucker in. He wants the win. He's kind of really disappointed as Menando at the windows. He's kind of burned his backers recently. He's going to try to kind of jump back up and get in the winner's circle. Even at 5.5 at distance, he may not necessarily need to lead, but he's going to have to fight, I think, a little bit with Don Tito. I think he'll put some pressure. I'm looking for a rebounding effort for Fairy Cat. I don't know what happened at all last time. The higher price Cartagena angle, maybe Burning Mandate drove by 8. This horse wasn't seen at all. Has the ability to come off the pace if anything kind of melts down up front.
And I'll throw in this 6 Lungs, who does seem to be have that stalking type of speed. And I know that wasn't a good performance last time out, but he had kind of an arduous campaign in 2015. He ran a couple of times there throughout the summer and the fall. So I like the fact that they at least gave him some time and now to be second start off the layoff.
They're trying to kind of maybe get him eligible. He was there and ran well against in some tough starters. Maybe that's the angle. Yeah, new face we're kind of seeing here. I don't know a whole lot about the outfit.
Okay, and that is races 1 through 9. Once again, we have a carryover in the Rainbow 6, just over $1,200. That Pick 5 carryover, nice carryover of over $8,000. And of course, that Rolling Super High 5 that starts in race 1.
Yeah.
That's enough talking for us. Thank you for joining us here on Today at the Races. Dave Rodman will be up shortly with all those scratches and changes. Good luck.
Good luck.